Hello and welcome to another episode of Elevenses with MZ, an arts and crafts show that is sure to awaken your right brain. So I am super excited today. As you can see, I already have inky painty hands, and I've been trying this technique to create these geodes using acrylic paint. So I've been trying out a couple of samples, and I really like the way they turned out. And I cannot wait to share this technique with you. It is super easy. All you really need is some acrylic paints, and do try and get some kind of a metallic acrylic paint as well, like a gold, or you can do a silver, even a copper if you want. But I really like the way the gold looks with these rich tones. And you will need some really hard card, and you want to be able to cut them in little strips like this. Now it's very useful to have different thicknesses, and I'll show you why in just a minute. The paints that I'm using are just craft paints. I have some Martha Stewart ones, some folk art ones. I even have apple barrels. So just, tones and colors that you like. But like I said, it would be fun to have one metallic in there. So I'm going to first pick out a color palette. And of course you want a surface that you don't mind getting a little bit messy. Okay, so we are going to start with maybe one in blues, pinks, maybe purple. I'm using some cardstock. It's just white cardstock. I'm starting with that. And as you can see in the samples over here, I did one as like a card. You can always go in and add some detailing with like a gold pen or a white pen if you want. You can even add words lettered over here. You can use a brush lettering. You can take something like this and you can frame it for your gallery wall, or even something like this that has more white in it. So the possibilities really are endless with these, but I just wanted to share the technique with you in this episode. So your hands are going to get dirty. So if you've just gotten a manicure, I would not suggest this activity. But if you're up for playing with paint, this is the perfect thing to do. So I'm first going to use my card and just cut a thin strip. So the thin strip is kind of for like creating the middle of these geodes, and this is such a hot trend right now. I was conducting some research for this episode on Pinterest, and I saw so many fun things that people had done, and I thought I'd give it a try too. Super easy, super fun. So I'm just putting a little bit of paint in the center. So when you go online and you see, and different people are doing this in different ways, this is the technique that I find the easiest and most fun for myself. So if you can see that over there, it's very little paint. And now I'm going to take the thin strip and I'm just going to move the paint around. And I find that for the centerpiece, it really helps if you move the card around. And as you can see, I have some jagged edges. I'm not making a perfect circle. And at times, I'm even letting the paint kind of blend in. I don't want a very stark boundary. So then you basically just build out from there. So I want a little bit of gold. You don't want to drag your card strip very, drag it very hard across the surface. You want to be able to lift it up a little bit at some time so that you get this texture with the paint. Because if it's like a very hard, if you drag the card with a lot of force, I guess that's the best way to say it, you're not going to get this variation in the paint color, where there's, over here I have little paint, over here I have some more paint. So I hope that makes sense. But I found that if I do play with the pressure, I guess that's actually the best word. That's the one that I was looking for. If you play with the pressure, you will get a lot of fun effects. So dragging it across around. And I really think that moving the paper helps a lot instead of just moving your arm. And as you can see now, I'm kind of varying the pressure and lifting up the card a little bit, and there you can see that variation. And it really should not be perfect, because nature rarely is that perfect, and that's the beauty, right? At least that's what I think the beauty is. You get so many variations, you get, and it's just such a fun technique. And as you can see, I mean, you can stop here if you want to, you can keep on going if you want to. If you want, you can let this dry, you can cut this out and use it as an embellishment on a card or something. But I'm going to kind of keep on going, and I'm going to build this kind of a layout. The one thing that I do regret on this print over here is adding this little one over here. I kind of wanted like a all over look, but then when I look at this part of my canvas, I kind of like the whites in the middle. So for this one, I'm going to let that be. I really love this effect, so I'm going to let this white stay in there as well. But I mean, from all of your practice prints, you will find a few color schemes and palettes that you will really like. I really like the way the orange and purple and gold is playing over here. I really like this green and gold with the blue. So I'm going to try and recreate a few of these. Now remember, you won't be able to recreate the same look really, even if you use the exact same color palette. And that's the fun of this technique. So you've just got to play, have some fun, and even get maybe your kids involved. I'm sure teens would love this activity. So I'm just going to play with a few color palettes and fill the sheet up. Stop here. I like the white space in the middle, but another thing that I'm going to try is I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to paint the inside, all of this black, so that it kind of gives it a more dramatic effect. As you can see over here, I've tried to do a few different things. I tried to mix different kinds of colors together. I dragged my card strip more firmly across the surface. There are places where I lifted it up, so you can see all of these different effects. So I think this is a super fun technique to play with. You can create notebook covers, you can create cards, you can create wall art, and so many other fun things. You can even cut out the pieces that you really, really like and turn them into tags. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Till then, bye-bye.